Mabuhay, this is Bob from Love Beyond the Sea. Your Filipina wife is going to leave you for a younger man. No, I'm not saying that as a prediction. It's just something I've heard a lot when watching other videos, and I've heard it myself personally from people in the comments section. So it's worth talking about since people do feel that this is going to happen. Filipino wife will leave you for a younger guy, and this is in context about bringing somebody over from the Philippines to the West. Please subscribe to Love Beyond the Sea. I've got over 1,500 videos and counting about relationships between foreigners and Filipinas. I got married 8 years ago, and we are still married. I feel like I have a lot to share, so please leave comments about this notion of Filipino wife leaving you. Well, that does happen. And why does it happen? A big reason, I think, is control, excessive control by the foreigner, and I'll get into that in a minute. That's not the same thing as saying you shouldn't have oversight of your wife, because you should. You need to know, where she is and what she's doing. Not because you don't trust her, but you have to be aware. You also need to know if something happens to her, where she is, in case she needs some help. So control is one thing, and then just not make an effort to have things in common. You're marrying somebody from another country, especially with an age gap. You're probably not going to have ready-made things in common, which I don't think is that big a deal. I think the main thing is to have, a worldview that is consistent and similar. For example, right away, we did like music because I grew up, in the 70s and in the Philippines back then, and probably still now. 8 years ago, they were playing music from the 70s and 80s. So my wife's familiar with, Billy Joel or the Bee Gees or Kenny Rogers. So, and even now today, we do seem to have pretty similar tastes in music. And so you have to, as far as other things that you don't have you don't have in agreement with each other, you have to make things in common. And that's fun, because then you get to try different things, like go to concerts. My wife, I don't know that she ever saw live music before, but we saw Casting Crowns, I think was their name, a Christian group early on. We've seen John Michael Montgomery and Branson. We just got done going to Omaha and seeing Boz Scaggs, which is somebody I wanted to see in concert. My wife liked these theatrical plays, like adaptations of Cinderella, Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, and others. And I've really enjoyed those. We've been to Branson to see, most recently, Queen Esther. I think we might have seen Samson there. About every couple of years, they have a great big production over there, biblical plays, and they're really, really as good as they can get. I didn't know I would like that, but, it's something we'll be doing in the future. And if I had said, no, that doesn't sound interesting, I'm not going to go, well, I'd be an old fuddy-duddy, and that might help her to think that a younger guy is more interesting. So you have to learn to be interesting with this new younger wife you're bringing over from another country. So also long drives. My wife likes to get in the car and just go driving somewhere where life can slow down and we get a chance to talk. And so don't be stuck in your ways. If you're the foreigner marrying Filipina, try different things. It's good for you. Probably going to have to get out of your comfort zone, but in order to keep your wife from a younger guy, isn't that worth it? As far as the control, I mean things like not letting her work. If she's not going to work, she's probably not going to be driving a car. That kind of hurts her independence. Not helping her family, maybe not letting her go to school, or at least go to a community college to learn something interesting. So in other words, failure to develop her and give her the independence would make a different guy, a younger guy, more attractive to her, and you want to avoid that. And An older foreigner has to remember she's not his child, his slave, or her employee. And she needs good friends. So you don't want to keep her from going out and doing that. If she's around you all the time, it's probably not going to be good for her. For a while, my wife worked second shift while I was working, and that was kind of tough. And she's going to want to have a baby, so you better be ready to give that a try. And let her talk to her family, especially early on after she immigrates. She's going to be homesick, and she's going to want to talk to her family. Go ahead and take some trips. Maybe show her some of your favorite places. But get out of there, and don't say you're too old to go do things, because if you are, then these younger guys can look more attractive to her. Have to sacrifice for her and invest in her. Of course, the sex is always a big part of any relationship, so that has to be there. You can't say, well, I'm too old for that or something like that, because other people aren't. Compliment her always. Notice what she does good anywhere around you, around where you live. Love her family. Don't just pretend to. Don't just fake it. Don't just tolerate them. Actively keep up with her. How's so-and-so doing? Learn about them. Try to keep up with the nieces and nephews. And don't expect her to love and respect you. Try to earn that. Just like anything else, respect is earned, and if you treat her the right way, I think she'll be safe. So try to be better than any other younger man out there that could be seen as competition, and you're not likely to lose your love beyond the sea.